name is Henry Happy, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make and create designs around 5 Minecraft workstations. Today we're going to be doing the blast furnace, the stone cutter, the enchantment table, the loom, and smithing table. These are the 5 designs I've come up with. This is not a block by block tutorial. This is for ideas. If you're looking for a block by block tutorial, and you can put it down in the comments, I can make that video, but this is mostly for kind of creativity and ideas. This isn't a tutorial. Right, now I've got that cleared up. This is our first design. So this is centered around our blast furnace. I've kind of done industrial looking like forge. So in the center we have our blast furnace. Underneath we have a campfire as like kind of decoration to show the smoke coming up and through. Yeah, so as you can see on the floor here, I've gone from the darker stones, so I've done like black stone, the deep slate tiles, all of that, into slightly lighter smooth basalt, deep slate, and then regular basalt to kind of create a gradient of like burning, because obviously forges are very hot. So what I have done is I've made it so that all of the area very close to the forge is quite burnt and destroyed, hence why all of this is so grey and dark. Something key to do here, like if you're doing anything with fire, especially something that regularly gets used and it's very hot, the best thing is to put dark materials around it. Okay, then I've put some coarse dirt and regular dirt around the stone with some dead bushes to show once again how hot it is, showing there were plants here but they're now all dead because it's so hot and dry and arid. I've put a few chest minecarts just because they create points of interest. They're slightly different from the rest. They're a slightly lighter grey colour, and they also have a lighter wood colour, but it shows that maybe this has a railroad or had a railroad before. This could be an abandoned area. Round the back, the whole thing is like it's kind of a clump. You would probably want to build this into the side of a cliff. Yeah. And then up here I've once again got the gradient going from light to dark. And I have some extra chimneys coming out of the main chimney, just for effect, and I haven't made it completely symmetrical on purpose because it's good. It's kind of a bit run down and broken, so it's supposed to be a bit higgledy-piggledy. I've added some anvils as kind of tables, workplaces for whoever works here, and then integrated polished blackstone pressure plates, polished blackstone buttons, and kind of these, and even just regular buttons and signs to add some extra interest and detail to the floor and the general structure. So I've put these all the way around. There are like some around here, you can see the buttons there, and then there are the pressure plates in the front. The buttons can be used as like small rocks, and the pressure plates are like stone slabs. So now onto our second build. This is the second build of this 5-part video. So this is centered around the stone cutter. As you can see here, I've tried to recreate the inside of an amethyst geode. Usually you'd find these underground next to caves, but I've built this one by hand. It's a bit larger, I'm pretty sure, than the regular one. It's a bit more symmetrical. So as you can see here, we have a little pathway. You could probably build this in an underground base. That would definitely be the best place to build this, like underground, something like that. Maybe something quite fantasy, or either fantasy or industrial. Both of them work. So here you can see we're grinding away at the amethyst clusters, and down here you can have the small amethyst buds right next to it because they're like the debris that's coming off. We have these lanterns hanging down with the lightning rods as well, the lightning rods and the acacia fences, which kind of make her look for rusted pipes. It's supposed to look quite not destroyed, but it's supposed to be there was steel, and now it's all rusted away. Hence why we also have the ground, because it's been all of the tiny shards of amethyst have been flung into the ceiling in places. So this is like an amethyst mine, if you will. It's quite cool. And then I've also put the candles around, the purple candles, to add some light, because without them it would be quite dark. I've used soul lanterns instead of regular lanterns, just because if I'd used regular lanterns, it doesn't fit as well with the purple. Because the blue obviously goes a lot better with purple than orange does, so I decided to go with blue as opposed to orange. So that's the stonecutter. Now for our third build, we have the enchantment table. This is purely an interior. Once again, this would either go underground, or maybe it could go into a cliff face, or you could build a house around it. So this is kind of centered around the enchantment table, and it spins off the fact that the enchantment table is quite mystical. It's kind of a fantasy item. So I've put all of these magenta stained glass panes and candles floating around, similar to the floating candles in the hall in Hogwarts, actually. So it's supposed to create that kind of feel. It's like when you have the bookshelves near the enchantment table, they radiate these little particles that go towards it. I've also put a flower on top, one of these lush flowers, the spore blossoms, to create a nice particle effect that'll drip down inside. This could also be a place for the brewing stand, and I've added some little points of interest at the back here, using light grey stained glass panes to kind of mix them up. Once again, I've used anvils like in our first one. This time it's more of a railing. Yep, and then on the back we have some bookshelves. In theory, you could use the... oh no, not the end portal frame, sorry. You could use the ender chest instead of the enchantment table, which also works, because it has these nice little particles going around the outside. These are the particles I'm trying to recreate here. I'm just doing it a lot bigger. So the ender chest would also work here. I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning, but quite a lot of these you can use more than just one type of like one type of workbench. Quite a lot of them fit in a few. Like also here we have the brewing stands and the anvils at the top. I think that's that room done. Now for our next one. This is probably the biggest one I have, even though it's not for a particularly important workstation, the loom. So and the barrel actually. So the loom here is inside of a kind of cowboy-esque wagon that goes with the Wild West. We have a little tent here for whoever lives in the wagon, and some bales of hay. This one is quite a lot about the atmosphere. Like inside the wagon, we have these mined rocks. We have then we have the barrels that probably would have things inside of them. This one once again could also be for the fletching table or the beehive. These both work in this instance. You could do like this. You have fletching table, beehive. So that's quite good. But yeah, so I've decided to use the loom. Not totally sure why. it was kind of one of those three would be good. So we also have leaves on the top to show that it's a little overgrown. It's not completely like plant proof. It's quite old. And then for the ground down here, we have the dead bushes again to show it's kind of the Wild West. It gives it a nice theme. And then we have rooted dirt, coarse dirt, and regular dirt. So we also have the jungle planks, which are kind of like they go quite well with the whole palette of that. They make quite a nice gradient between the two. And then we have little stone buttons for rocks and things, and then jungle buttons for clumps of dirt. That's mostly this one. The trick for doing a good wagon is to get the right kind of canvas curve over the top, and also to make it feel quite homely. Like here we have the tent and all of that, like to show that someone is living here. We could even add a few leaves around the side of the tent, just to make the whole build come to life. And now for our final build, we have the smithing table. This is probably the most simple of all of them, but it's also quite an effective one. So once again, like the first one, we've used the gradient going outwards. Even though this one isn't hot, it makes quite a nice effect. Kind of also because we're right next to a wall, it could be a shadow as well coming from outside. So here you would ideally have a cliff. This one's probably the one that really needs to go into a cliff the most. It looks a little strange just having this on the back. But yeah, so I've used stairs and slabs to add some extra texture, and also andesite, stone, and stone bricks as a gradient. So we go from andesite to stone bricks, showing that kind of the bottom has had to be supported by the stone bricks, and then the top's a lot lighter, because it kind of brings your eyes upwards too. I've made the roof out of jungle planks because it ties the whole build together, and instead of having like oak planks, because oak planks would be a bit too oak, it's quite nice to have a contrasting roof from like the walls and the pillars and the ground. There's also, as opposed to using like dark oak or darker wood here, I've used slightly lighter, like you could use stripped birch. That might be a bit too light. You might want to use stripped oak. That could also work. But just because it then contrasts with the central dark colors, and then you have like dark colors on the inside, light colors on the outside. Once again, this would go great with a cliff. You could have a large cliff like here, and then your little shack. So these are all of my builds for disguising your crafting benches. I really hope you have enjoyed. If write down in the comment section below which was your favorite and why. I thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. Please like and subscribe. These videos take ages.